Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the NSCAC Presents Behind the Bench. Today we have a panel discussion on the Euro 2020 that is being run in 2021 because of the pandemic. We have an interesting panel of people joining us today. We've got Andrew all the way from British Columbia. We have Jason from Alberta. We have Mladen from Ontario. We have Marco from Ontario. We have myself, Valerio Rocca, who's the Vice President of the NSCAC, and the Technical Director, Tony LaFerrara. Guys, gentlemen, welcome. How's everybody doing?
Very good. Very good. Thank you for having us.
Valerio.
Yes, Tony.
You want me to take over this thing?
It's your show, Coach.
It's my show. Oh my God. Oh my God. I just, like I said before, guys, I just want to say this ahead of time. I'm not biased at all. I'm very neutral on this. I hope you guys realize that. But I'll give you my 2 cents on the Euro. First of all, welcome everyone. It's great to to have this discussion. I think in the future, Valerio, we should have more discussions like this, where we involve, all the coaches, and I'm sure we can find, interesting topics to talk about, and we will. So, I'm hoping that in the future we can plan a few more of this conversations. But
Absolutely.
Yeah, talking about the Euro, I'm going to ask each one of you, what do you think of the Euro so far? Just a couple of minutes. 1-2 minutes each, and then we'll get into other discussions. But personally, I'm enjoying it. I find, I guess, also because of the, what we've been going through, right, with the pandemic. So this is kind of a big relief for everybody, right? Being able to sit in front of the TV and watch a game, like a real game that counts for something. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm trying to learn all the time as I'm watching it. And, there are some teams that have surprised me and some that have disappointed me so far. And I'm going to ask you that question as well. But we'll start at the top, only because it's, in the order in which it is arranged on my screen. We'll start with Andrew. Welcome, Andrew. So what are your thoughts on the Euro so far? Which teams have met your expectations, if you will, and which have disappointed you?
Yeah, so thank you. Thanks, Tony, and thanks to Valerio for the opportunity here. Well, I still feel it's very early in the tournament. It's great to see fans back in the stadium, for a start there. I think teams that have impressed me, I would certainly say Belgium. I think it's very difficult for me to look past them. I think we've just seen them put in a remarkable performance in a very emotional situation against a team that probably played as well as they could have played. So I think Belgium look to be a strong favourite of mine, which is not. I'm sure that's not a surprise to anybody. And I'm impressed and disappointed by France at the same time. I always feel with the French team that there's so much talent and ability in there that you'd like to see Deschamps sort of take the reins off them and let them play. So I think that I spent a few hours this morning trying to figure out the second round and gave up after a few minutes because there's so many permutations.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that after, Andrew. We'll have a little bit of fun with that after.
Yeah, but I think if France and Belgium avoid each other, I think they would be a good bet for the final. I have been disappointed in Turkey. I was expecting a little bit more from them, just based around some of their performances in World Cup qualifying and some of the results they've had in the past year. And I think that makes me, and this is not to upset my Italian friends on the panel here, but I'm still not sure about Italy or Wales. And I think I'm looking at that game to see where those two teams fit against each other, because I think Turkey have been so disappointing, and followed by Switzerland. I thought there'd have been a bit more from the Swiss, so I'm not sure if that's that Wales and Italy are right in the mix there. So it'd be interesting to see Wales and Italy play each other. I'm looking at that game, and then again, there's a few other games that I'm looking at. I'm looking at the Czech Republic and Croatia tomorrow to see how those two teams.
Yeah. No, we'll get into that after, Andrew. We'll get into that after. But yeah, you know what? I agree with you about France being, even though they won the game, without being a little bit of a disappointment. We'll see what Mladen has to say about that.
Thank you again, guys, for invitation. I appreciate it, and it's a pleasure for me to be with you guys and discuss stuff like this. But I am really close to Andrew regarding of disappointment. I was really expecting more from Switzerland and Turkey. Denmark has that bad thing that's happened with Christian Eriksen, and we are all glad that he's still alive and that he's good. But that's, I think, even Denmark lose today, even if it was winning first half. So that's a kind of, for them, a little bit bad. Are we talking about good things? I mean, it's really hard to say. Yes, Italy has 2 wins. I like how Italy plays. But again, when they come to play with a more tactical and organized teams, probably will be difficult. But you never know. It's European Championship, and everything is possible. Like you remember Ukraine, Holland, it was 2-0 for Holland, and Ukraine got back. They even have a chance to take a lead, and they receive the goal. So, but it's really good. Yes, I am disappointed with Croatia first game because I was expecting more. We are not a team that we defending too often. But I always says the coach knows the better the players. He spent time with them, and they prepared again the best they could. They make one mistake, and in these kind of games, that mistake costs you 3 points.
Yeah, but we'll look at there was one team, I can't remember which one it was. They only had one shot on net, and they scored, and they won the game.
That was a Finland against Denmark.
There you go, 17-1.
So these statistics,
they won the game, and even Hungary, I think, against Portugal, they could have won against Sweden, could have scored against Spain. But that's the way the game goes. Marco, what are your thoughts on teams that have met your expectations and teams that have disappointed you so far, and the overall?
In terms of, I guess, disappointments, I'm along the lines with everybody else. I felt a lot more from could have been shown from the Swiss for sure. They've been a team that's been on the uprise historically, and it seems that maybe they have plateaued, and it doesn't look like to be a good tournament for them now. Alternatively, maybe a little bit Croatia too. I did feel Croatia was aging going into the tournament, but still with the veterans they have, I was disappointed to see Modric playing too deep in the formation, and I kind of think it ruined their setup for the first game. The ones that exceeded and have surprised me, really, frankly, me being Italian and all that, it really is Italy. To score 3 goals in back-to-back games is, for us, is almost unheard of because of the nature of the style we used to play. And the surprise is the style that they're playing now. Very much attacking, very creative, exciting football. So I think they exceeded it because naturally we always expect the same from Italy. And England, being a young team, I think they showed quite well in the first game. I'm excited to see what England can do, really. I think if we sleep on England, they might surprise some people.
Right. Valerio, I'm going to skip you for a second, only because Jason is a guest, and we want Jason to go first. I hope you don't mind. Jason, what are your thoughts on all of this?
Thanks, Tony. Sorry, Valerio. But similar, I think Andrew opened up quite well with some of the comments there. I think, first of all, it's just a delight to be watching the game again. Good to see fans in the ground. I was super excited for this. I think we've all, as spectators, as young players that we look after, and even going to the teams that are in the tournament, you know, this has been such a long time coming. So watching the first round of games it's been really interesting, because as viewers of the games, we're analysing like we do, but for them, you know, they've been waiting a year for this in a pandemic environment, disruptive kind of programs. How do you ever prepare for something like this? It's so difficult. So the lead up to it, I think, has been really interesting. And then, and again, Andrew said it's tough to really get a real gauge, because we're only one game into the tournament. And I think a lot of teams are feeling out the opposition. I think they're trying to figure out the environment, the tournament, the fact that this one is being housed in so many different countries. Obviously, England played at home at Wembley, so they get that advantage. But then some teams are playing thousands of miles away from anywhere that they're familiar with. So there's so many kind of aspects that are making this an interesting tournament. And then for me, I kind of echo what all the guys have said with the individual nations. And then for someone that comes from the UK, we've got England, Wales and Scotland in the tournament. So I've probably watched them a little bit closer. Obviously, being English, fascinating to see what the English are going to do. I've done my coach education pathway through with the Welsh FA, so I'm very kind of attuned to the Welsh structure there as well. And obviously, you know, Scotland, I've got to consider them, but tomorrow it's England versus Scotland, so I don't consider them in the next 24 hours.
Listen, I think the game of the tournament, it's going to be Scotland and England. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, I would pay $1,000 for to watch that game live.
I think with what happened in Euro '96 between the two, and the kind of a lot of build up around that fixture, there's a lot on it. But for the first round of games, to consider the Germany-France game, that felt like a semi-final watching that. It was so enthralling to watch, and just the way the game was played. I think that's an early contender for game of the groups, if not the tournament. That was fascinating. So I'm similar to Andrew, one round in and a few extra. It's an early stage. I think a lot of teams going into the second game will maybe be a little bit more composed and a little bit more ready to play tournament football, because it's been a long time coming. But I've loved it so far.
Yeah, Valerio, what are your thoughts on all of this?
I agree with what everybody's saying. I think the first round of games in any tournament never really tells the true story, right? Because I think the players are getting a feel of each other, the new system, and maybe sometimes it's who they're playing in that first game and what kind of permutations they want to play out, right? Take example for Turkey. Turkey set up to play for a tie. They weren't trying to beat Italy, right? So I think a lot of these teams are taking those permutations into place, and I think you need to give the players some time to get accustomed to themselves. That you got to take the travel, right? Some of the teams are moving around all from country to country. So a lot of them haven't played in these kind of stadiums full for almost 18 months. That plays a part as well, right? So I'm enjoying it. I think it's after everything we've gone through this past 18 months, it's nice to see fans in the arena, singing, cheering, clapping, and the soccer's been quite good, and there's a lot of attacking soccer, especially from Italy. And everybody always thinks Italy's a defensive team. Well, they've been on the front foot right from the get-go, and I can't see them taking that foot off that pedal as the tournament goes on. I think it's just going to get more and more, and they're going to just, we can say Switzerland and Turkey are not that good, but maybe Italy just played that well and they couldn't move. They couldn't do anything, right? Like look at Denmark today. The first 25-30 minutes against Belgium. Belgium couldn't move out of their own half. So it's exciting.
And that's for sure. And still a long tournament, and we hope that COVID, doesn't get in the way again. I mean, God forbid one of the players on any one of the teams test positive. What's going to happen? So, we don't even want to think about that. It's still a long tournament, but, if there is anything that we know for sure is that, we're all enjoying it, right? And we're all having a good time with it. And I'm looking forward to the rest of them. If you guys don't mind, can you see my screen where it says team stats? Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, I took this from the UEFA website, and there are some very interesting stats that they put together, of course. And I think, I've been looking at them, and I think some of the stats are useless, obviously, but some of the other ones, may give us maybe an indication of how certain teams have chosen to play and how they will play, into the tournament. So, we'll look at the first one, the most goals, Italy and Belgium and so on. I don't want to look at the next one, the one on possession. If everybody can see that, they have Spain on top for obvious reasons, right? I mean, Spain had all the, all the possession, and they couldn't score. But I'm looking at, the teams going down the line here. There's Spain. The second one was Portugal, and I think we know why these two teams had the most possession, right? Because the other two teams chose to play defensive. But if I go down the line, I look at Switzerland. Switzerland more possession than Italy, according to to the stats, and yet they lost the game. But the one that disappointed me, and I want to go down a little bit further down if you can see all of that. Where is France? Did I miss France? I missed it somewhere. But France is very low on the on the possession.
They're so low, they're not even on the list, Tony.
They're not even on the list. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, they're number 20, Tony. They're way down at number 20.
They're way down. Sorry, I missed that one. But my point is that here's France, a team that everybody is saying that they're going to win this thing, or everybody wants them to win this thing, but they have not in terms of possession, they're not done very well. I was going to ask you guys, do you think the strategy of Sweden to to just sit back and try to fluke a goal was the right one or was the wrong one? As a coach, would you do that? Valerio, I'll start with you this time, since you were the last one on the first time.
I think they set themselves up the way they played throughout the whole qualification, right? They consistently play with that 4-4-2. They defend in a low block. They knew Spain was going to have all this kinds of possession. I personally wouldn't have defended that low, knowing that Morata is not a clinical number 9, right? So there was no need to fear him trying to score. But you can't fault what they're trying to do, because that's what the coach wanted to do, and that's how he set up his team. And typically, that's how Swedish teams play: 4-4-2, 2 blocks of 4. They defend deep, and you got to remember too, they were supposed to have Ibrahimovic in this tournament, and he's injured and out, right? So could that have played into some of the tactics that they decided to go into this game? Right.
What about France? I mean, you've seen the game against France, I think, against Germany. My thoughts were that I thought that Germany played a better game. I thought that France really didn't show us all of that France, all of the expectation, all of the things that we expected from France. So what are your thoughts on that, Marco, that France-Germany game?
You know what? Out of all the first round games, that could have been the toughest one for 2 of the top teams. So personally, it looked like both teams were just, one was a little bit more, I guess, into it and more into attacking and a little bit more creative and inventive, where the other one was just sitting back, and they're more like it had a third game feel where it really didn't matter in the group, and they both felt that they were going to advance. Both teams maybe holding their cards tighter to the chest, because typically these are teams that would end up in the quarterfinals or semifinals. So I wish I could have seen more from France because they look really good on paper, but paper doesn't really dictate what happens on the pitch. And ultimately, the Germans are always very well structured. So frankly, I think I got out of it what I thought I was going to get going into it, something that wasn't going to really impress, and two teams that were just sort of feeling out, a better level of competition style team opponent. So I think really in the end, they were the two teams that I had going through in that group. So for me, it really was status quo in that game, and it was an own goal too, right? So I don't know if you can really take much from that particular game.
Right.
And if I can add something, Tony, if you look at the last World Cup that France won, they were 19th out of all those teams in terms of possession. So they won a World Cup. So I think they're taking what they did in the World Cup and they're bringing it into the Euros. And I think, we see the players that they have. And I think our expectations as fans and as supporters is a lot higher than the style of play that Deschamps wants them to play.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know, based on the talent that they have, they are expected to go very, very far. Mladen, what are your thoughts on that? Not on that game, but I wanted to ask you about the tactics used by Sweden and Hungary. To sit back and hope for a goal. Do you agree with that? Would you do that? And what are your thoughts on that?
You know what? It's like we talk about it. It's sometimes really difficult what we will do with those players, but what we will do with my team, it just depends of the moment of the situation. It depends of what we want to try to do, how our players are physically prepared, mentally prepared, what is our advantages, what is our disadvantages, what is the best for us, especially it's the first game of the tournament. Can we just sit down and try, like, for example, France was really defensively organized, so that, in my opinion, they try to, because Germany played with the three on the back, they try to maybe play on a counter-attack using Mbappe's speed and the Griezmann on the other side and Benzema in the middle, who can hold the ball and put the ball behind himself. And Germany tries something. They have a chances, but they didn't do it. Hungary keep almost up to 84 minutes, but sitting on the back whole game, as a coach, I never do that. I like to do combination style, a little bit 10-15 minutes high pressure, then go back in the middle, then go a little bit more back, then change again. Depends what's happening on the game. I'm more attacking oriented, and I don't like the same style the whole game. I like to be unpredictable. I try to change things during the game, depending on what's happening in the game.
Yeah, Andrew and Jason, I'm looking at passing accuracy. One of the stats that UEFA put on. The Netherlands have a 90% passing accuracy, and followed by Germany, Spain, Portugal, and Belgium and Switzerland. Switzerland, they're not doing very well, but it seems they keep the ball a lot. Is that an indication? When we see that, we look at the percentage. Do you think that's an indication of the style of play of these teams, the way they want to play the game, or it was just because they were playing this particular opponent that they were able to to have such a high percentage? Andrew, what do you think?
I don't think you can read anything into the pass accuracy or pass completion because there's no context. We don't know if that's the two centre backs playing the ball, playing the ball to each other. Just on your previous points, I think I saw a bit of a slight difference between Sweden and Hungary. I felt that Sweden had basically decided that 0-0 was the outcome they were looking for. Just watching that Hungary-Portugal game, the periods in the second half where Hungary were on the front foot and in the game, and maybe look the most likely to score. So I think they will be obviously disappointed to have lost. I'll be interested to see how the Germany Hungary game plays out, because I feel Hungary might be, feel as if they might be able to get at Germany a little bit. But yeah, just back to your original point, I just feel those passing accuracy and passing percentages, as you said earlier, some of these, the possession stat, as you pointed out, they really don't mean anything in isolation. If you can't tell who's passing to who, then it's difficult to put a great deal of stuff on that, Tony.
Yeah. Jason, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm following Andrew, and I'm kind of picking him up. I think what he said is absolutely spot on. It's the context of the data. Just looking at the isolated number on a stat sheet, it paints a picture that who knows what it really means in context to the game. So I think we know some teams are naturally renowned for their kind of possession-based approach. And I think we understand that's their philosophy. But to talk about a game in isolation, just looking off dry numbers on a sheet is very difficult to really interpret. So, Andrew, you beat me to it.
All right.
What I will say, sorry though, Tony, what I will say, going back to the kind of question around the defending tactics, it's an interesting one. And again, being inside the camp, we don't know the ins and outs of like the Sweden camp or Hungary. But the one thing I'll always go back to is 2004 and the Greek team. I think they got absolutely lambasted for the tactics they used. But now we just remember them as the tournament winners. So maybe some teams are looking at those Greek kind of historics and maybe looking at maybe we can do the same. Maybe we can keep it very tight. We can counter attack. We can nick a goal, and maybe that will get us through to the next round. And I think there's just been a documentary come out on the Greek team, I believe, and that journey and the manager Otto Rehhagel. But we can talk about sexy tactics, but ultimately their name was on the cup. So maybe Sweden are looking for them for a little bit of inspiration, maybe.
Yeah, and you know what? And at the end of the day, I mean, we all like to see beautiful soccer and beautiful goals and all of that. But at the end of the day, you're going to remember just the team that won the game or won the tournament. You're not going to remember why. And if you know why, you don't care because they won. So, we can criticize them in terms of, whether or not it looked good or did it look that good. But at that level, I think the results are important. And, if Sweden wins that game on that goal, when I don't remember the name of the player now that, it takes the shot and
Berg.
I'm sorry?
Berg.
That, the player from Spain saves it on the line. It hits the post and goes right back to the goalkeeper. If that ball goes in, they win the game. Are we sitting here saying, yeah, but they're playing terrible soccer? So anyway, that's just the way and that's why the game is so beautiful. You can have a team that has a 90% possession and lose, and a team that takes one shot on net, 17-1, and they win the game, which that's what makes it interesting. The one thing that I want to ask all of you is, as a coach, I mean, we all watch the game and we all like to see, like I said, the beautiful plays and the tic-tac and the possession and all of that stuff. But, how are you learning, from Euro 2021? What are some of the lessons that you're taking from watching these games, right? That's my first question. And my other one is, how are you involving your players into all of this? Or are you? And if you are, how are you doing that? How are you making sure that your players are also learning, also taking some lessons from Euro 2021, which we know it's important, especially in Canada where we don't have that culture of, we watch soccer, 5 hours a day, 10 hours a day, right? So we take every opportunity to learn something from it. Jason, what do you think? What are you doing, to pass on those teaching moments to your players?
Tony, I think it's a great question. From a personal point of view, there's a couple of things that I'm really paying close attention to. Is we always love to talk about shapes and formations and systems. I'm looking predominantly at the back four versus the back three. That seems to be something that's been happening quite a lot at kind of domestic level in recent years. So I'm intrigued by that and how teams are playing, whether it's a back five, whether it's a back three with the wing backs higher up, or whether it's a back four. So that's my own personal thing that I'm really looking at the moment. I'm also intrigued by the counter attack, how teams are countering with, as you've already alluded to, with some of the teams that are sitting deeper and maybe absorbing the opposition's possession, then how do they break? And it's been, and I think we saw it today with Lukaku in the Belgium game at times, was devastating once he's away, and how the team then kind of follow. And we saw the first goal with that, and an unbelievable piece of play from De Bruyne.
Yeah. And you know what? Yeah. Jason, I'm just going to stop you for a second. And I agree with you. And, I want to show you something. I want to show you guys something. Hopefully you can see this. I said, hopefully I can. Are you guys there? I thought I lost. Sorry.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Yeah. And so, I'm taking, personally, what I'm doing is I'm using my phone. And whenever I see something on TV, I'm watching the game, right? And I have a piece of paper in front of me and a pad and a pen. And when I see something that I know it's, that I think it's important, something that I want to look at it again, or something that I want to pass on to my players, I make a point of it. So if it's time, it's, the 25 first half, I'll put down 25 first half Germany defending. And then I'll go back and look at it, right? And so I think this is is a great opportunity. All of these events, the World Cup and anything that's on TV is always an opportunity for coaches.
What really helps with that, Tony, is I think we're getting some brilliant camera angles now from these stadiums.
Absolutely.
I think the replays we're seeing from above or from one end of the field, we're getting some really good angles to be able to, as coaches, to kind of look at the game a little bit differently.
Yeah, Andrew, what about you? How are you? I mean, are you involving your players in this? Do you have anything that you do to get your players to watch the games, right?
Yeah, I mean, I mostly work with coaches at the moment, but I think the thing that I'm really seeing, and I've noticed this maybe over the last 18 months, but it's really culminated in this tournament, is that technically all of these players are of the highest quality. And we can talk about Modric, we could talk about Phil Foden, but we could really talk about pretty much anyone on any one of those teams, whether it's a central defender who we think is just good in the air. And I think this is overlooked, certainly in Canada and in a lot of other countries, that we do talk a lot about long-term player development and we talk about the stages of development. But the technique of the players at the top level is just off the charts. And when you watch at a lower level and you see that discrepancy in technique, there's a difference. And I tend to think in the professional ranks that everybody's physically fit, everybody's tactically switched on and has an understanding of the game. The difference is that technical ability and being able to play in tight spaces and being comfortable with the ball. And I think this is really showing us that's the difference between the top players and the top teams and the also-rans.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Mladen? Are you using are you doing anything to inspire your players to make sure they watch the games, to make sure that they learn something from this?
Absolutely, and I agree with Andrew. Technique and mental toughness and speed with the ball, I think that's the make this difference in any game, and that's exactly happened in a game England-Croatia. That particular moment when one player from defense wasn't in position and they play quickly 1-2 and the goal, and those are the really, really important things that, as Andrew says and other coaches, long-term development. So using the things for the games, but you have to adjust those exercises to your team. Depends what kind of players you have. I mean, it's easy to take the exercise, but if your players are not able to do that, then you need to break down that in the little things and go step by step and be patient. Depends of the age, depends of the quality, depends of the technique, but definitely technique, that's the main thing in Canada. And we have so much talent in this country that if all organizations start focusing, especially in the grassroots, that all coaches here, they're amazing coaches, they need to be in the grassroots. And then we can work on that technique. We can work on slowly putting tactic in, because tactic comes anyways later on. But if you have a technique, if you have a speed and you are comfortable with the ball, you can do any formation that you want to play.
Right. Marco, what about you? Are you doing anything with your players? Are you forcing them to watch the games?
Marco, your mic is off.
Yeah, we can't force anybody nowadays to encourage as much as possible, but yeah, you remind them about the favorite players and favorite teams. But for me, coaching younger kids, going from a 9v9 to 11v11 game, I try and encourage them to look at how you play the ball out of the back. I mean, the major change last year that we really didn't get to work on was the goal kick. So, we're working on those things. And from my perspective, the beauty of it for me learning, it's to see how high up the field these fullbacks are getting nowadays. I mean, I come from a generation where you stay at the halfway line and wait. But now these fullbacks, the athleticism, the technical ability, we used to speak of a Maldini back in the day. It seems like there's a whole bunch of Maldinis running all over the place nowadays. So those are the areas that we really focus in on.
Yeah. What about you, Valerio? What are your thoughts on that? Is there any lessons from this World Cup, from this Euro?
I think that every team is bringing something special, and I think we don't get the chance to watch a North Macedonia or an Austria on a regular basis, so you get to see what kind of tactics and stuff they're trying to use in their country, right? I think the way the game is shifting, it's all high pressing, get as many numbers as you can forward, and play as quickly as you can, and it's exciting, especially when you're trying to promote the game with new people or the younger players. They want to see that they want to see lots of nice goals, lots of nice passing, lots of attacking. So
yeah. No, I mean there's a lot to learn, that's for sure. I want to show you guys something that I'm doing. I got lots of time on my hands, and so I play around with this stuff. But, I'm looking at Germany here, right? How they play the ball from the back, right? How they spread out, and this is something that I'm hoping that I will use with my players at one point, just to show them, the importance of the width, right? Spreading out, one very, very high here, one down there, and, 3 guys up top. I'm looking at how these guys do it, right? And then I'm saying to myself, for me, they make it fun for me to watch the game. Yeah, I like to see the goals. I like to see, that golazzo by Schick. I mean, it was unbelievable. The one by Locatelli yesterday. But the things that I love is watching this kind of stuff, see how these guys do it, right? They're playing the ball at the back. It's 3 at the back, 2 in the middle, and 5, all the way up, pushing everybody up. One way up at the top, one down here. And so these are the things that, that I'm trying to learn from all of this, right? And again, like I was saying, if coaches, we take time to do that kind of stuff, right? Where visually we look at it and rather than looking at the goal, rather than looking at, we were talking before about, possession and so on and on. Look how these guys play the game, the way they play it. There was one more I wanted to show you, if I can find it. I've lost it. Maybe if I find it later on, I will show it to you. But anyway, I'm putting something together, and I'm hoping to get your contribution as well. I'm taping all of my games, and I'm making all of these notes And I'm hoping that sometimes in October, when there's a little bit of snow on the ground, it gets a little bit cold, then we will do, another couple of webinars, and we call it, Lessons from Euro 2021. And we look at, how France and Italy and Germany and Portugal or whatever, how they bring the ball out from the back. Are they all different? Are they similar? What are some of the things that they do that they're successful and how they do it, right? When the ball is in the attacking third, how do they set up in the attacking third? Are they spread out wide? Do they push 5 players up? How do they do that, right? So these are some of the things that I'm hoping, we can do that. And again, I'm hoping that, if you want to contribute into that, if you want to be a part of that, and I'm hoping that you start making those notes, and then we'll put on a couple of webinars on lessons from Euro 2021. All right. So I want to go back to something else. Now, now we'll have a little bit of, oh, by the way, before we do that, which goal do you think is the best goal so far? I know this is crazy. Shouldn't be asking that question. But what do you think of the best goal of the competition so far, or at least the top 3-4 goals of the competition so far? Valerio, I'll start with you.
I would say Schick has to be 1. Locatelli's goal yesterday has to be 2. And I think the combination play with De Bruyne's goal today has to be 3. That winning the ball in the final third, and then 3 or 4 one-touch passes, and he just picks the near post and wins it.
Right.
Those are my 3.
What about you, Marco? Any thoughts on that?
I can't argue with those 3. I mean, Schick's goal is one of those that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. I think that's what separates that goal from the other 2 that Valerio spoke about, because, we do see those other ones from time to time, but, big stage, big moment, pure confidence from a striker to curl a ball. I mean, it was all sublime. So I don't think we're going to see a goal like that for years to come, frankly. So I'm going to go with Schick.
You think Schick's goal is the best one so far? What about you, Mladen? What do you think?
I'm okay with both coaches. I agree with them about Schick first and Locatelli, and that De Bruyne lost against with Belgium against Denmark.
The one that they had today. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good goal. Okay, I'm looking for something here that I had planned, and now I can't find it. But I'm gonna keep looking for it. So let's make some predictions. We'll come back, and if I find it, when I find it, we'll look at it. But let's look at some predictions. So while you guys are telling me your predictions, Valerio, I'm going to try to find my my visual. Valerio, so who do you think is going to get out of Group A? First team, second team, third team?
I think the way it's shaping up, I think Italy 1, Wales 2, and I think Switzerland is going to beat Turkey and finish 3rd. That's how I look at it.
Right. What about Group B? Marco.
Oh, you put me in the one group of death that I chose. I find this group to be extremely tight. I was hoping you'd pick any other group, Tony, but look, Belgium. And for whatever reason, I've been a fan of Russia. Russia's always a good team. I don't know. I'm going to go with Belgium. Russia 2nd and Finland 3rd. Denmark, unfortunately, the whole Christian Eriksen thing may have just taken the wind out of their sails. So definitely Belgium, Russia, and Finland, Denmark in that group.
Latham, what about you? Group C? Mladen?
Ah, you asked me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Can you remind me, please, who is in the Group C?
That's a good question.
Group C is Holland, Austria, Ukraine, and North Macedonia.
Oh, but North Macedonia has a 2 lost already, so they will finish where they are. And I think that Holland will be first, and Ukraine, Austria, exactly how it's here. Holland, Ukraine, Austria, and North Macedonia.
Right. So, Valerio, I'm sorry, we're going to go back on this one. So we pick Italy to go first, right?
Yeah.
Wales, Switzerland, and Turkey.
That's correct.
Yeah. Marco, who did you pick? Belgium, Denmark? Who did you pick?
Okay.
Marco.
I got Russia finishing second and Finland third, Denmark fourth.
Denmark fourth, yeah. And what about the Group C? Who was it?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Poland, Ukraine, Austria, Macedonia.
Okay. Andrew, what about Group D? Who do you pick?
Let's see, Group D. I think England will maybe win the group. I think Croatia comes second, and I think the Czechs will come third with at least 4 points.
Right. Jason, what about you? Group E.
Thanks for the good group. Spain to win it, I think. With obviously 2 games for everyone left, I think I'm just going to go Slovakia second because they've got the momentum of a win. And then I'm actually going to go with Poland sneaking third place, which, I'm going to be controversial.
Okay, and I'll take the last one. You know, I think Portugal is going to finish first. It'll be Germany and France and Hungary. That's my that's my prediction on that. Now, of the best third place teams, I'm looking at this one. You know, these are the ones that, of course, we had picked, right? So the third best third place teams, Valerio, which one would you pick?
Well, you'd have to pick France as one.
Okay. Just one. You only get one. Marco, which
one? Okay, good. That was an easy one.
Marco, which one would you pick?
I'm gonna, you know what? My Cinderella team is Finland, so I'm gonna go off the board and I'm gonna stick with Finland.
Okay, Jason, what about you?
I will go with Czech Republic.
Okay, so I'm gonna take that out. What about you, Andrew? Which one would you pick?
So if I've got to pick between Poland, Switzerland, and Austria, I'll go Austria.
Go with Austria. All right. So then, based on what we have picked, so this is what the round of 16 will look like. So it'll be Belgium and France, Italy and Ukraine, Portugal and Finland, Croatia, Slovakia, Spain and Austria, England and Germany, based on our picks, right? So let's start from the top. Belgium and France. Mladen, I'm going to ask you because I didn't ask you before.
I will go with Belgium. I will go with Belgium.
Belgium. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. That's a big one. By the way, can you guys see all of this?
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Valerio, Italy and Ukraine. I'll make it easy for you.
Ukraine. I'm kidding. Italy.
Damn you. Hey, you have diarrhea. Marco, Portugal and Finland. Who do you pick?
Unlikely game match to begin with, but if this is the scenario, you got to go with Portugal. If Portugal gets out of the group, you got to go here with Portugal.
You got to go with Portugal, yeah. Mladen, Slovakia, I think.
Yeah, I think.
Ouch.
We'll pick Croatia, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Andrew, what do you think?
Yeah, Spain. Yep.
Spain for sure, yeah. Jason? England and Germany.
can only go. Genuinely, though, if you asked me this in the past, I would have gone Germany. But at this moment in time, of the two groups of players, I would genuinely go England.
England, yeah, okay.
Good play.
Yeah, I'll take the Netherlands, and I'll take Wales. So based on that, and now we're the top 8: Belgium, Italy, Portugal, and Croatia, Spain and England, and the Netherlands and Wales. So Belgium and Italy. Valeria, I'm not picking you this time because I know you're going to pick Belgium, so I'm going to go with Jason. Jason, what do you think? Belgium and Italy?
Yeah, I would actually go Italy on this one. I think watching how Denmark played today, I think the Belgians can be got at, and the way Mancini's got the Italians attacking, I'd go Italy.
Italy, excellent. I like you, Jason. Andrew, Portugal and Croatia, what do you think? We're not going to ask Mladen on this one.
Yeah, I would. I really like Croatia. I would hope that Croatia would beat Portugal.
Yeah, they're a good team. I mean,
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate that.
Mladen, Spain and England.
Even if I'm fan of Spain, but I think the England is stronger team.
Right. And Marco, Netherlands and Wales.
The Dutch.
Dutch for sure, eh? All right.
Yeah.
Well, based on that,
oh wow,
the semifinals will be Italy and Croatia, and England and the Netherlands.
Italy, England final, baby.
I'm tempted to leave it there. But so we'll go with the majority. We'll ask you, Jason. What do you think? Italy and Croatia. What do you think can make it through?
I thought Italy would go through to that stage from the last game, and I'll stick with Italy. I think.
Andrew, what about you? Yes, sorry, Jason. Go ahead.
No, you carry on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, if Italy get to the semi-finals, I guess the question then is Mancini stay open and attacking, or does he or do they kind of revert to type a little bit and are a bit cautious? And I think that if Italy are going to be successful in this team, it's because of the way that they've changed to play.
The way they play, yeah.
Yeah, so I would, if I could get in the head of Maldini, I won't be sat here with you guys. But yeah, I think this points out how interesting it's going to be from the second round on.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you remember the Italy teams of the past, many times they just squeaked into the next round. I remember they lost the first game in the US, right? Didn't they lose 1-0? And then they made it to the final. So, this Italy team is a little bit different. Marco, I'm going to ask you, what do you think, Italy and Croatia?
Italy.
All right, 100%. We'll go with Italy then. Never mind. England and the Netherlands. Mladen, who do you think?
I will go with England.
England. Marco, what do you think?
When you see it, it's actually a harder matchup to really. I'm gonna go. Yeah. I'll go with England. It's their due. I don't know. I just feel England's due. I'm gonna go England-Italy final.
Yeah, Valerio, what do you think?
I'm the same as Marco.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Final, Italy and England. Wow.
I just want to remind you of something. No, if you remember the games Italy-Croatia, most of the games Croatia always wins. So if Croatia go that far, that will be a tough game.
Mladen, this is the last time you're going to be on the panel.
Yes.
The last time you're going to be on the panel.
No problem.
You know what, guys? I'm going to save this, and I'm hoping that we can look at this in a couple of weeks and go, wow, look how wrong we were. Or,
I was going to say, how terrible we are.
Yeah, but the thing is, a good thing we don't have to put any money on this because, man, I'm telling you, I mean,
when Sweden or Hungary win the tournament, yeah.
Well, yeah, but, hey, listen, anything is possible, but I don't know about that one. But, we've gone through this, right? And we have excluded just our top friends, right? Germany, not even in the top 4, right? Spain, not even in the top 4. Belgium, not even in the top 4. So, man, like, you guys are hard, I'm telling you, but this, again, these are 4 top teams that, according to us, of course, the experts, are not going to make it through.
Oh, yeah, the experts.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, we're the experts, all right. That's for sure.
It's all right. Yeah, I know. Well, like I said, thank God we don't have to put any money on this. Valerio, how much time do we have?
We're done.
We're done. Pretty well done. Yeah. Well, listen, guys, thank you very, very much for, being a part of this. I hope, you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. But I'm going to leave you with this. Again, I'm going to invite you again, perhaps if you want to be a part of this. And like I said, I'm taping all the games and I'm, making some notes and looking up at, different things in that. And hopefully in October, November, because it's going to take time to put it all together, we can have 2 or 3 webinars on, lessons from Euro 2021, right? And we can share with all of the coaches, we can share with each other and so on. And we can make this a truly, learning experience for everyone. So if any one of you wants to be a part of that, I welcome all of you. If you have any, anything that you would like to contribute to that, we'll send some information out, some reminders that if at one point you want to be a part of that group, I think that would be great. And the other thing that I would ask you as well, and anyone who's watching today, is that, please help us, make our membership a little bit bigger than what it is now, right? We're hoping that in the future, we could do things like lessons from, Euro 2020, but we can also bring other, webinar with other coaches, and we can make it a truly learning, environment for everyone. So, we need your help with that, to promote the association and help, encourage everybody to sign up. Any last words from any one of you are welcome.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you. I had a good time.
Valerio, what do you got to say about this?
Thank you, guys. It was an absolute pleasure, and Forza Italia.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Take care.
Guys.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Tony.
Ciao, Valerio.
Bye. Tony, it went well, huh?
Yeah, it was okay, was it? Yeah. What do you think?
You weren't happy.
No, I'm not. I'm not happy.
Why?
Because I lost that friggin' thing. It took me an hour to find it.
Oh, I thought you weren't happy with the panelists.
No, it was good. The panel was good. I mean, no. They were fine.
They got a little bit sidetracked sometimes, and I felt that you brought them in quite quickly and didn't let them carry on about
because they
other things.
Yeah, but I think everybody had an opportunity to contribute. No?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody had that opportunity. I wanted to emphasize the fact that, let's use this as a learning opportunity for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Those clips that I showed you, I'm doing all of that with my phone, right? So while the game is on, I'm taping the fucking thing, then I'm editing it and sending to my computer. So I'm hoping that, it'll give me something to do, I guess.
Yeah.
Through this.
No, it was good. We should do one on Copa America since it's running too.
We should do one on Copa America as well. You know what I made a note of, I wrote it down and then I didn't mention it. I wanted to mention, Canada as well. They're
Listen, we should have one on Copa America and the Gold Cup. Like Canada's in the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
We should even have a discussion on how they're going to do in the final round of the qualified, because now they've gone to the Hawk.
That's a good idea. That is a good idea. We should do the Gold Cup for sure.
And we should do it almost like a preview, like the Thursday before it starts.
When does it start?
It starts July. Hold on a second, Tony.
You know, that's a great idea. We should do that.
I'll jump on with you.
Yeah, no, but we need to get a, yeah. I mean, you and I could do it, right?
We need a couple more.
But I think if we can involve a couple of former players, right?
Yeah, former national players.
Or coaches as well, right? I think that would be fun to do. Yeah, you know what? Let's plan that, Valerio. You know, we'll do one on the Gold Cup. You know, and we'll talk about Canada as well, right? Of course.
Yeah, starts July the 10th. So if we do something on the 8th, that Thursday, it's a preview to the Gold Cup.
Yeah, you know what? We should. Let's do that.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, I'm seeing John tonight. I'll let him know.
Yeah. Let's set it up, and we'll see if we can get some, you know, some players or coaches that want to be a part of it. Otherwise, you know, you and I can ramble for an hour.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you think? Went okay? It was all right?
I thought it was really good. I thought it was fantastic. Yeah.
You know, it was I enjoyed it, you know, except for, you know, I have things ready and then I can't find them. That bothers me. But other than that, it was okay. Yeah, hey, let's plan that Gold Cup. I think the Gold Cup would be fun to do. I think it would be good to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Valerio. Listen, thank you very much for all your help.
No problems. My pleasure, Tony. Anything I can always do, I'm always here to help.
Forza Italia.
Forza Italia. Stay safe.
Ciao, Valerio.
Ciao.